Calling to order the Pepper Pike Council meeting of June 24th, 2025. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Knoll?
Here.
Ms. Zajac?
Here.
Ms. Wellman?
Here.
Ms. Godin?
Here.
Mr. Lemay?
Here.
Mr. Gentili?
Here.
Dr. Wong?
Here.
Well, good evening, council, and good evening, audience. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First agenda item would be the approval of the council minutes of May 13th and May 27th. We have a motion regarding May 13th, please.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Ms. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Wellman?
Yes.
Ms. Godin?
Yes.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Gentili?
Yes.
Dr. Wong?
Great, thank you. Next, a motion for the approval of May 27th minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Ms. Zajac?
Abstain.
Ms. Wellman?
Yes.
Ms. Godin?
Yes.
Mr. Lemay?
Abstain.
Mr. Gentili?
Yes.
Dr. Wong?
Next, we have a motion to authorize the city engineer to start the bid process for the Shaker Boulevard. Pardon me, we don't. We have a motion to approve the bid of DL Smith Concrete of $574,000 for the South Woodland pedestrian trail improvements. Don, you want to take us through it?
Yeah, we put it out there. We had 11 bidders pick it up. We had 9 bidders actually submit bids, pretty aggressive bidding.
9?
9, it's a lot. So
Wow.
really happy with that. D.L. Smith was the concrete contractor that got our Lander Road project,
Hmm.
and they were the low bidder on this one. Their number was actually $549,040. I'm recommending that we add another $25,000 to their contract, because we did have them give us a price for concrete point repairs on the streets, which we do have a few of. And the reason for maybe having a little bit of additional cushion is this hot weather. Usually when we get several days like this in a row where it's 90 plus, we could have some slabs kind of explode on us here and there. And I'd like to maybe have some flexibility, if needed, to have that.
This is like a contingency then,
It's a contingency item.
to be
but
approved by you as needed.
if we have something go, rather than us trying to get prices from somebody, they'll likely be on site and we can just have them.
I'm not quite sure I understand what you're asking for. Would this be slab repair on the sidewalk?
No, this is, we when we bid it out for the sidewalk project,
Yeah.
I also put in there an item for doing slab repair on any street in Pepper Pike, any concrete street,
Oh.
just to get a bid item. Their price was very reasonable for that, I think it's actually the lowest in all of the bids, so it's not some crazy number. And I just wanted to have some flexibility, one, if we had something that needed to be done adjacent on a driveway or whatever, but also to deal with just a handful of spots within Pepper Pike where we have a few broken slabs here.
So is that number within the 549?
There's some money already in the 549. I
Okay, and how much is that?
think it's about $15,000.
Okay, and you want to make that 40?
I want to, right, add another 25 to it,
But
just
only-
to, just
but
to
it's
give us
only
some
an as-
flexibility.
It's only an
Right.
as needed.
I'm hoping that we don't need it, but a couple more days of this and you could have some weird things happen.
Is that gonna do anything to the other bidders?
No.
That they won't know about it?
No, you're still the lowest bidder on the base contract. We're just giving a little bit of cushion as we do the work, so if we give them.
And they all had the opportunity to bid on that
Yeah,
number
they
as
all bid
well.
on
So it
that.
was contemplated within the bid structure that this additional work might be available.
So was that additional work bid as $15,000 by the other? I didn't pick up that
Yes,
piece.
we added a couple line items to the bid so that everybody was bidding on that little bit of additional work.
And did they all come in, like just I'm using it as a
This-
sample,
this-
as a sample?
Yeah, let's just say this contractor was at $100 a square yard, everybody else was higher than $100 a square yard, 120, 150, 180, whatever.
I
So
see 2 line items, I
Yeah,
think,
they gave us a pretty low
of
price.
20,000.
Is it 20? I
Yeah,
didn't.
it's 100 a square yard.
Yeah.
for the 7 and for the 9 inch.
Right,
Your point is here, while they're in town, they're geared up, they're doing a concrete project,
right.
why not have them,
Yeah.
Right, do this
This
too.
is, you know, and they've proven that they're able to jump on stuff pretty quickly. They've been reliable, so I think they're good for our base contract. We don't have to award this additional money or have the cushion in there, but I could be coming back with a change order next month if we have some slabs blow up and we gotta get it fixed.
And did they do this kind of work on, when they were doing Lander?
This is, I mean, for a concrete contractor, this is pretty basic stuff, so.
No, I mean,
The slab
was
repair?
that included?
No, it was not.
It was
It was
not,
not.
okay.
Don?
It's really I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's really the heat phenomenon that kind of inspired Don to say, let's plump this up a little right here.
Yeah, 2 weeks
Because
ago,
we
I
may
wouldn't have even
experience this.
thought of adding this to it, but one, the price is actually
Yeah.
really competitive for the point repairs, and two, with the seed, we could have some.
I think I'd like to see this accounted for in a separate project, so that when we ask about what did the sidewalks cost, we don't have this fly in the ointment that's distorting. I mean, it's not a
Right.
big number, but it's still.
However it gets used, yeah, we could always track,
It's like 40,
track it
it'd be
separate.
45,000 if we had the 25.
Right,
So when Peter's telling us what it costs to do the sidewalks, we need to leave that part out.
How many concrete streets do we have, like, in the city that we would be looking at for point repairs? Like, are there like
for the
over
point
10,
repairs,
20? Like, is
no,
that,
there's-
that's what we're talking about for the point repairs, right? Is
Well, there's
other
like-
locations?
yeah, there's maybe 35, 40 concrete streets.
Okay.
But there's 4 streets where we have a couple slabs.
something on it?
And that
And-
was my question. Are there certain areas that we're kind of watching? Are we concerned about that this pot of money is kind of likely to be directed to?
There's some spots that we've already identified, a handful of streets where we know we have a few slabs that are broken or in bad shape.
Okay.
And then the remainder would be just to react to a potential.
So we don't know. I just was
Right.
curious if we had some, concrete that's failing in certain areas. Just for our knowledge, I think it's great to be proactive.
Yeah, and a lot of our streets, some of our concrete streets, the entire street's perfect, but there might be one spot for whatever reason. Maybe there was a water line repair there or something happened that just needs to be fixed. And you
Sure.
fix that one slab and everything's back to.
Sure.
Don, this says that they could start as early as July 14th. Is that a reasonable time period to start?
Yeah, they could,
Okay.
Okay, yes, random things happen. Today, we had a water line break
Oh, where?
unexpectedly on Kersdale. And it's not the time of year you necessarily would anticipate water lines heaving and breaking. So now this heat does weird things. And it's a good cushion Don's breaking in.
And they had it's just down the street from where I live. And they had also broke a valve in the middle of the repair, so it took longer than it normally would have. But it was rough for those guys today. They were out there for a long time.
It was a hard day to be down in a hole.
And that, if you think about it, this weather, just like cold weather, you get different expansion and contraction. The hot weather does the same thing. So water main breaks are not unusual in hot weather.
All right, if there's no further discussion, we need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Ms. Atruk?
Yes.
Ms. Weltman?
Yes.
Ms. Godin?
Yes.
Mr. Lemay?
Yep.
Mr. Gentili?
Yes.
Dr. Wong?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to the motion authorizing the city engineer to commence the bid process for Shaker Boulevard pedestrian trail. Don, you want to tell
Wait,
us where we are?
I think we jumped. We didn't do South Woodland.
That's what we just did.
Did we?
We
Oh,
just
yeah,
did-
we did
we-
South Woodland. I'm
We just
sorry.
did Southwood.
We didn't, okay, that was a motion on the.
Right.
On the contract, gotcha.
So, Don, you want to take us through the Shaker Boulevard trail?
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, we, 80% of this walk fits in a pretty clean, straightforward slot. There are a few areas where we really had to work around existing utility poles, some landscaping or other terrain features, and some grade issues. In particular, really close to Bolingbrook and then down to the bridge that crosses Upper Creek. So that one section took a lot more design effort
Hmm.
than the remaining area. In that area, for a pretty good section of it, where the sidewalk is only gonna have a skinny, maybe 2 to 3 foot wide sort of tree lawn. Just because trying to deal with some of the grading, so pretty close to the curb.
Going around the bridge that's there? or-
Actually, by the bridge, I was able to move it
You have
pretty
more
far
room?
away.
Okay.
But between the bridge and say Bolingbrook and even a little bit towards City Hall, it does kind of swing pretty close to the edge because of some grading issues and some other landscape issues. So it took some iterations. It doesn't look all that fancy. I mean, I could show you the drawing and it's really not going to reveal that much, but working around all that stuff, it was, it's time consuming, unfortunately, but
It's on the north side, remind me.
the trail is on the south side of
South
the
side.
road, yeah, so
Okay.
you're crossing at Bolingbrook, and then you stay on the south side of the road, and then you come in right in front of City Hall, and then we connect up to the walk on the circle.
And there's some places where the land just slopes, there's a steep slope.
There's a pretty steep slope, but most people are familiar with the house on the corner of Bolingbrook and Shaker's, kind of a
Mhm.
farmhouse there, it's an older house. It's got a very steep front lawn that goes right down to the curb, so
Yeah.
there's a little bit more grading that occurs there, but everything occurs well within the right of way. We're doing our best to avoid some bigger trees and things like that as well. So even though we've got to go in there, I think we're safe in terms of where we're working. We could push it closer to the edge of the right of way, but then we'll create more grading up against the property owner's side.
You don't have to build a retaining wall? It's not that steep?
No, it's
Did you
not
think
steep
about
enough.
that, or?
We looked at a retaining wall option or sandstone or some decorative thing.
Yeah.
Basically, what we're gonna have there, we'll do a 5-foot sidewalk, and then on the inside edge of the sidewalk, we're gonna put a 6-inch high curb. So it'll be poured as one piece. You see it sometimes where, you have a walkway and then like a little bit of a curb.
Oh,
So
as a kind of a little
It
mini
eats up-
retaining
It
wall?
eats up 6 inches of the elevation difference, and then it
Okay.
makes the grading for that front
Okay.
yard be a little less severe.
So it's like a retaining wall? right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not a big cost, so it's a
Yeah.
pretty clean design.
So
How
that's
far-
I have 2 questions. Okay.
I think
What's
Scott
the
called
length
it.
of this one as compared with South Woodland?
This is, not an exact number, I think this is 7,000 feet, it's longer than South Woodland,
And South Woodland is,
about 5,000 feet.
that's 5,000. And what, do you know what the engineer's estimate is on this?
I don't have the precise number, I want to say it's around 800,
Ballpark?
850, in that range, yeah. And, I did say to all the bidders that were in the room, for those people that didn't, get the bid last time, I said, we've got another package, hopefully we're gonna be bidding in a couple weeks, so they all seem very interested.
Why? Why do we get 9 bidders?
I don't know.
It's a good news. but-
It's good news, I think, they're eating through their work and they're just trying to keep their crews busy, and they see something like this, and it's a nice size project, it's not too big or too small.
And maybe these smaller projects are something they can use to
Yeah.
fill in when they're doing some other bigger projects.
Right.
Don, I just had a question about that right of way that you were talking about on Bolingbrook. What is the right of way from the curb? Do you recall? How many feet?
From the curb on Shaker, it's 18, it's almost 20 feet.
Oh, so it's big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, we're putting the walk pretty far away from the right of way, but the goal is to try to minimize the grading in front of some mature landscaping. So otherwise, if we did push it back, the sidewalk would be higher, it would create more grading issues, and
Right.
this is actually probably the cleanest way we can do it.
And the way it turns the corner will mesh well with that design?
Yeah, it's gonna have like a nice little arc on it, and then there'll be a crosswalk back a little bit away from the intersection right at Shaker. Where it crosses.
Thank you.
And the way we're going to do the curb is the most aesthetic way that we can do it as well, not just the most cost effective, et cetera. It's
Yeah,
going to look the
I
best.
think it'll look nice and it's really clean, and I think sometimes if you try to do too much there, I think it actually detracts from the look of it. If we tried to put in, sandstone curb or something like that, you've got a maintenance issue, you've got a vegetation growth issue and things over time that I think work against it. The sidewalk this way with a very modest 6-inch curb, most people won't even notice that it's there.
And it's a difficult spot to walk right now, the way the slope is.
Well, and I guess my question kind of ties in with, I mean, so you're confident not only that it'll look attractive, but it'll look appropriate. That's one of, that's very typical type elevation for an older farmhouse. And it's one of the, a handful of remaining houses, and it's, has a historic and, a lot of character, historic value, a lot of character. And I just want to make sure you think it will look appropriate and the homeowner will be satisfied that, we're not kind of destroying the frontage of a home that's been there for a lot longer than most of ours.
Right, and that's, our goal is to pull it basically as far away from the house as we possibly can.
Okay,
So that's where we're putting it, and then we're also doing something to minimize the grading in the front lawn. And the only other option is to not put the sidewalk in.
sure. Well, yeah, I
If you're-
didn't,
if
no,
you're-
well,
Right, if you're gonna commit to doing the sidewalk, this I think is really the least invasive way to do it.
and most appropriate, attractive. way.
Yeah, and
Okay.
if, you could do something with, and we looked at, maybe some field stone or some larger foundation stone or something along that. There's a cost, but secondarily, does it match? Does it look appropriate to the rest of it? So here you're gonna have this long stretch of sidewalk, and it'll be thought of as sidewalk, and then we're trying to minimize the impact to the farmhouse and the grade and everything.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that they, that people are being treated well.
Anything else, anyone?
Don, quick question. The bridge kind of like right next to the road, how far away will the sidewalk be from the road at that point in time, or will it be?
What we're doing is we're right across the bridge. We're making the sidewalk a little wider, but it's gonna be right against the bridge wall there.
Okay.
So it'll be 7 feet wide, but people won't walk right up against it because
Right,
of the
right.
wall. So really, it's still 5 foot of sort of functional space. But then I don't want to have 2 feet of sidewalk for the
Right.
service department to have, or 2 feet of grass for them to go in there and
Right,
have to mess with.
And
So
then from the street?
it's about 10 feet.
Anything else? All right, we'd entertain a motion to authorize the engineer to proceed with bids.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Ms. Zatra?
Yes.
Ms. Welton?
yes.
Ms. Godek?
Yes.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Gentili?
Yes.
Dr. Wong?
All right, we'll move on to our committee reports. Mr. Lemay, you had a finance committee?
We did, and welcome again to Peter, who provided us the financial reports so early, some couldn't even find them, which was great news to see. And there's new formatting and some new information we provided, which was well received by the committee, as well as some new information on fund balances, which is a great thing to have. We didn't have that always available, but as publicly and as accessible as this. And we talked about the allocation of our surplus at Chase Bank and balancing out the various funds in which we have that invested and how to do so. But finances overall, there was no significant shortfalls in revenue or anomalies in expenditure. So we're on good track for the year.
Thank you, sir. I don't believe, yes, there was a meeting.
Communications Committee.
Yes.
We discussed the technical aspects of setting up a little more sophisticated audio and video system for city council meetings than we have now. As you know, this is about as bare bones as it gets. We briefly touched on the potential hiring of a communications director for the city and improvements to the city's website. We had an audio video consultant discuss different options for setting up, including the use of fixed cameras, split screen displays, and automated features. And the idea is to eliminate the necessity of somebody to actually come in and switch cameras, which is very costly. And also you have to have people who are going to be here reliably for that. We also discussed concerns about the complexity of these systems and the need for dedicated personnel to operate that efficiently. So it's an interesting solution, is that it in essence would have split screen, so you would have smaller screens when you tuned in, but you could see specific areas in more detail. We talked about the potential benefits of improving the city's website, such as providing clear access to meeting agendas, minutes, and presentations. And we also as I mentioned, discuss the possibility of hiring a communications director to handle the website updates, social media, and other communication-related tasks. So there's a lot, and it's something that at some point, it's going to involve the entire council discussing these things. So that's something to think about.
Thank you, Scott.
Scott, did she, I'm on, serve on a number of nonprofits, and they've adopted this OWL system, where it's voice activated and the camera goes to the person speaking. I was amazed how good it is. And it's automated and it just sits there on the table. And if you start speaking, your name is on the screen. Is there an option for a meeting like this, like that? Or have you heard of that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, because Councilmember Wong asked about that. And I think this expert we had in here knows what he's talking about. He said that he gets a lot of requests from people who have that system to replace it with something else.
Interesting. Okay.
I think that speaks for itself. He said he did not have much experience with it, but he did say he has a lot of clients who ask to have something different.
Because two nonprofits I work with where I attend in-person meetings, and you also have the web option. They're very happy with it, but maybe it's a different circumstance. So they've used it for about 2 years, I think. So it's still new. It's a newer technology, I think.
I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Scott, did you want to mention anything about the schedule for the upcoming meetings?
Oh,
And also about
Sure.
the application?
oh, thank you for reminding me. Thank
You
you.
can get the application into more hands, because we do still need one additional resident, not one additional, right? One.
We actually
resident
could
member.
use, there's some question as to how many residential members we're supposed to have on the communications committee. And we can talk about that now if you want. I think Jim, do you remember what
Yeah, isn't it? I thought that was in the ordinance. No.
I believe it was decided, it could be chosen by the chairperson.
The chair.
Yeah.
Left to the discretion of the chair.
It wasn't specified. Yeah, it was, I believe, discretionary,
Okay.
but
Okay, well, first, and Tony, you're gonna have to remind me, we're probably gonna have it on the Monday prior
Monday.
to the first council meeting at 7:30 on Monday. Did we say
I
7:30?
think that's what we said. Yeah, 7:30.
7:30 on
Get
Monday,
there from work,
so you have more time.
the
So-
Monday before the.
Once a month, right, the day before council meeting.
What? Oh,
I
We're
think
planning
planning and
and
zoning
zoning
is
is
the
the
first.
Yeah.
I know.
in
Oh,
the
is that
evening
right?
or in the morning, are you
The
saying?
second Monday.
In the
7:30 evening.
Oh, the second Monday. Oh, so it's not the
Oh,
first
okay.
Monday. It's like, okay, so Monday and then we have a
Oh,
meeting
there we go,
Tuesday.
because I somehow missed this one. I would have loved to have heard the presentation, but I'm sure we'll hear it when you guys narrow it down or hear an abbreviated
Yeah,
version. So
it's,
this is great.
okay, great. And the other thing is, what Sheila did put out on the city's website, it is now, it's been a few days, right, Sheila, that it's been up there, that there's an opportunity to apply but Mr. Gentili has suggested that we have the city email send that out to everybody if they're interested in applying.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
I don't want people to say that they didn't get the opportunity, because
Right.
not everybody logs onto the website and can find it, so.
I will
more
share,
people get it.
when Parks and Beautification was looking for committee
Is that an
members.
announcement?
That was the
Okay,
process
great.
we used.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Knoll. Mr. Gentili, you also have an application that you're readying for infrastructure, don't you?
Right, and I have not finalized that yet. I wanted to get the communications one. We still have until maybe September before we're.
All right,
having
so
a
there's
meeting,
more.
So we have some time.
Okay,
But I think kind of once we have the process down on the communications, then it's just about ready to go. I just need to.
okay.
tinker with one thing that Jackie suggested.
All right, very good, very good. Department heads, anyone have anything you wish to report this evening? Okay. All righty.
I had a question. Somebody pointed out to me that the plantings at Lander and South Woodland were changed, that there were plants that the service department had placed there, and
Right.
then they saw those being removed. So I don't know if there's a little backstory to that.
Well,
you can hear about.
basically, we had parked a number of annuals there. And when the plants that were more intended to be there arrived, the annuals were moved over to the northern section of Centennial Park, where Brainerd enters it,
Gotcha.
and the other plants
Ah,
were put.
And that was the intention all along, to move those to there.
The intention for what is in there was always the intention to go in there, yes.
Thank you.
Because that's a new planting, right? Is a new planting on the circle?
There was an area there that was planted when it was first rebuilt, and all of those plants had basically died. So we cleaned it all out, put grass in there until we figured out.
Gotcha.
And I thought it turned out pretty nice. It gives it a little color coming into that circle.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mr. Lemay, I was able to track down the ordinance regarding committees. And as long as someone's nominated by either the mayor or council members and receives a majority vote of council, they can be added to the committee.
Okay.
No limit or,
Is it chairman's discretion to determine, chairman of the committee?
well, if someone's nominated by a member of council or the mayor,
Mm.
council would vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
yes, the chairman could bring it, but is not exclusive in having the authority to do that.
All right, we'll move on to the mayor's report then. We had a pretty exciting week here in Pepper Pike the last week. We had two wonderful events. Had the dedication or the inauguration of the Gates Mills Park and Trail, which was very well attended. And it was great to see everyone come out. We had some regional leaders there who had all participated in putting together the team that secured a great deal of funding for it. Kyle Dreyfus Wells from Regional Sewer District was there. The Metro Parks were represented. County Planning was represented. Our Councilwoman Meredith Turner was present, and who secured the $250,000 ARPA grant that was directed to the city that we use for the gateway areas of the trail and park. And it was really a nice event. It was unfortunately interrupted by rain at the very end, but not before people had made their way down the trail. And few of us got caught on the way back in the rain, but it wasn't terrible. It was actually a nice, gentle first day of summer rain. It was coordinated with the summer solstice, and it was a nice first day of summer. Mr. Newell took a really nice video of that. Thank you, as always, Mr. Newell, for your great efforts in doing that and putting it together. That has been placed on the city's website as well as our Facebook page. So if you were unable to attend, you can see a good part of it. Also on Sunday, we had the Taste of Pepper Pike, our 10th annual. It was by many, it was hot, but by many comments, it was one of the best ones. People thought the food was superior this year to some even other years we've had. They really enjoyed it, and it was just a really good positive vibe at the whole thing. It was just fun to be at. And if you're unable to be there again, Mr. Newell again lent his superb talents to creating a video, and that is also posted on the website and the Facebook page. And I think it's also been carried on some local social media. So you can get a flavor of what you missed if you were unable to attend. We're already lining up our vendors for next year. Letters have gone out of appreciation to the many who were there. the other night. I want to draw particular thanks and attention to our staff who was there. The fire department was wonderful, setting up the Jersey barriers to make sure that everyone inside were safe. We had our EMS truck there for a just in case that fortunately we didn't have to use. The police were there monitoring and just hanging out at the perimeter, making sure everyone was safe. And the CERT team turned out in strength. And they always enjoy, this is an event they always enjoy getting to participate in. And perhaps most of all, though, I have to thank the service department who is there early in the day. And this was a hot day to show up to get everything set up. And they hang out when the party's over, they're still there. And they're breaking it all down. And it was an incredibly hot day for them to be doing this labor. Really appreciated. But organizing this whole thing, and it's not that other people didn't participate and help organize. Certainly they did. But a special call out to Rachel Garrett in our service department, who just did an outstanding job of lining up and confirming with the vendors and just the whole party. And she just does such a wonderful job doing it. And a public thanks to Rachel for her very hard work in doing that. So make sure that she hears about that, Jim, okay? That's about where we are now. We have a lot more in the way of fun summer events coming up for our residents in the way of movies and music. And I hope that everyone who is available can get to these events. They're really a lot of fun, and you're missing out if you can't get there. So with that, I will turn it over to the council if they have any comments.
I just had one thing, Rick, it was on the agenda last meeting, and I think it's an important thing if we get it on the agenda for the next meeting, because you weren't there to discuss the issue with the Ohio Supreme Court ruling on public records and emails being public records, and how at this point the city might take some measures to be proactive to help residents. I understand that it's a public record, but I have some thoughts on some things we could do that would at least give people, I know and I believe at least that people can opt out, but food for thought, 2 possible options. And I'd love if we can discuss it, because I think this was something that we got a lot of emails about, people were very concerned about. And I think we were caught a little bit off guard. One idea would be to set up annual email lists so people could opt out from future emails if they wanted to. Of course, the past email list would be public records also, but over time, I would assume that there would be some privacy protection afforded to people by having these annual lists that people could request. So the 2025 list, and so forth. Another thing would be to have, these are just food for thought, people to a notation to request that their email not be used. It would only be a request, but at least would put them in the position of allowing them to have that information also included with their public information. So, I know that many of us have our emails out there all over, but there are some people who feel less comfortable with it, some people who share their emails less. And I just think that we should have that discussion about what we can do to help people in a way that would still align with the ruling of the Ohio Supreme Court.
Sure, we'll be happy to get that back on.
Make a comment about that too. I think that Steve gave us some more advice that's questionable about, we'll just hit unsubscribe. Right around that same time, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal that said hitting unsubscribe can often lead you to a malicious website. And so that's not a great idea all the time. You're risking actually broadcasting that you have a live email address, because some of these folks just send out random things, and if they find you answered unsubscribed, then they know they have a live one. So I think that's questionable advice.
Well, it's a different issue as it relates to the city unsubscribe effort. I don't know. I wasn't here for that.
Steve was
Okay, I wasn't
saying-
here for the comment. But so far as unsubscribing to the city website, that is not malicious. I want to make sure that's
No,
very clear.
no,
I don't want any
I didn't mean-
confusion
I
about
didn't mean
that.
to imply that. I just meant that Steve, as a general comment, said that you can always just hit unsubscribe. And that's really maybe not the greatest advice
Okay,
for
All
our
right.
residents who are either watching or here.
okay. Anything else, council?
Steve, what has Orange done? I know that, you know, you're a law director there too. What have they done, the city done to help? Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
They broadcast the issue.
I did bring the issue up to the, along with another mayor, to the Mayor's Association. This was generally not, there was a very, very low degree of awareness among any mayor in Cuyahoga County about this, basically. And the events in Orange and here, you know, we're starting a conversation as to whether or not it's a state legislative matter. This is budget time. It's not really propitious to have this conversation with any legislator at this time. So that's where that is. Anything else from council?
I think we need to consider something about the e-bikes on Gates Mills. As I was driving home,
I'm sorry, the what?
the e-bikes on Gates Mills Trail,
Yes.
there was a person going 30 miles per hour on there, not stopping when the road was crossing. I don't know if they live there.
Why
or
do you
not,
think they were going 30 miles an hour?
Because I was driving and I was clocking him. I was following at 30. and my
Oh, you were
husband-
tracking him. Okay.
Yeah, and my husband also clocked him at the same time because he was in front of us. I have a video of it too.
Okay. Well, share it with the police if you have a
But I
video.
called them, I called the police.
Okay, that's good.
But I think us as a council need to think about e-bikes on the, it was dangerous because there was a couple coming on the trail and they were about to cross the street and he was coming really fast.
I also got a complaint about an e-bike.
Yeah, I mean.
And that was something we discussed at the last meeting and, you know, that,
it's
not that you
scary.
couldn't ride the e-bike, just not under
Right.
power or with the top speed. And I know the police department, you
I just
know,
want people to be safe on the trail and, you know, there's a lot of baby carriages and elderly people and I know people in wheelchairs too. And they can't get out of the way as nimbly as a young couple could from these e-bikes.
What-
It just was scary.
We're actually working on some prospective legislation for the council's consideration regarding bicycle and other uses of our sidewalks and trail. And I hope by next month, we'll probably have it ready to at least introduce and begin a conversation about it.
that
Okay?
would be great.
That'd be-
At the last meeting, we also talked, I guess apparently there was some sort of golf cart on the trail, which wasn't allowed.
That's
but-
not
But we
allowed
need to
ever.
maybe put that information out there because people might not, I mean, they
They don't
should
know.
be aware, but they don't read our ordinances. So let's put it out there.
Mayor, do you include in your legislation electric scooters? Because I've seen them go that fast as well. I've seen them on the streets,
Right.
keeping up with traffic.
Well, as council may or may not be aware, e-bikes serve more of an assistance to most people who ride them, the vast majority. A ordinary non-assisted bicycle, non-electrically assisted bicycle can go as fast and faster than e-bikes. And so I don't think that the concept or the issue that you've brought up is necessarily a quote e-bike issue.
Speed issue.
It's speed. It's people behaving safely. There's always going to be a limitation as to the reality of what we can control so far as the speed of a cycle, because the police aren't out there. It was nice that Councilman Wong happened to have her camera and her car to actually pace a bicycle and get a sense of how fast, but generally that's not the situation. So there needs to be other interpretive abilities of a police officer when he observes such a thing to, counsel the person who's riding like that you're going too fast and you're not allowed to do this. And take whatever steps that officer thinks is reasonable and appropriate in that circumstance. But we're not going to put speed limits on bicycles, because if they're in the street, they're guided by the speed limits in a roadway.
Right.
If they're not on a roadway, the cops are not sitting there with radar guns clocking people riding by on a bicycle. It's just not practical.
Thematically, on the legislation you're thinking about, can you give us a 50,000-foot view on the locus of the regulation?
Yeah, it's actually all over the codified ordinances, because what we're doing is incorporating into the various provisions for sidewalks regulations regarding the recreational trails, exempting property owners from having to maintain them. So under your code, if you have a sidewalk in front of your house, and I don't know that many places do, but theoretically you have the standard state of Ohio municipal code provision that says you have to maintain the sidewalk that's in front of your house.
But in terms of bikes, I'm just
No, we're talking
understanding
about bikes.
what, in terms of this issue, the theme of the legislation is,
It will only hit the bikes to the extent that they are on either the sidewalk or recreational trail. Right now, your code provides that you can't ride a bicycle on, that you must ride a bicycle on the sidewalk. And of course, the people who bike,
yeah.
For
But
serious bikers don't ride on sidewalks.
Yeah.
Ride on the road.
My concern is a prohibition, I don't think would work. Or is this
No,
more nuanced than that?
more nuanced than that.
Okay, that's good.
It's more nuanced.
Each
Okay.
provision will have to be
We're-
looked at.
All right, I'm good. I'll wait.
Are there
The end of the
provisions,
book is great.
are there provisions that any vehicle that's riding on the city streets has to be licensed if it's powered? In other words, there are,
Yeah.
no, I was talking about like scooters. The scooters will go 30 miles an hour, and I've seen them on the streets.
Talking
Can
about
you
the-
ticket people for that?
We have not.
Can you?
Can we have to look into that more and see, but.
You've heard the expression street legal. There are things that are motorized vehicles that have a license plate and meet the equipment requirements, which I think include lights in the evening and other stuff.
For e-bikes too,
Yeah.
any lights on them.
So, street legal is a thing, and I don't know all of the specifics of it, but the police department would look at that, and if anybody were prosecuted, our prosecutor would handle it. But
Well, it's more the idea I think the real intent is safety. I mean, it's not to give somebody a ticket. We're not trying
No,
to give
it's
tickets. It's safety. And, one of my formative memories is of a very, very bad fatal accident with kids on Lander Road. Kids who were just being kids.
So listen, one of the most effective things we can do is, as with most situations, the 90+% of whatever people ride bicycles, e-bicycles, whatever, scooter, whatever, are probably operating them safely. If not trying to turn the city into ratting out on people, but if someone's in your neighborhood and you have, known people who are just being reckless and not careful, the way they're operating whatever, be it a car or anything else, people are encouraged to discreetly let the police know. And we're not going to go out and have mass arrests of people. It's nothing like that. But sometimes, just particularly if it's a younger person, a reminder to a parent that someone isn't behaving safely in their home is, all that needs to happen. And we're still a small enough city that can be an effective deterrence and stop a problem that, may be developing. So we try to handle these things discreetly and, productively as we can, sometimes with parents, whoever needs to be made aware that their younger person is not behaving correctly. So, anything else? Audience comments? Ms. Bartasavich?
Bear Bar Savage, 9600 Shaker Boulevard. The events this weekend were great. I want to thank Mayor Bain and Don Sheehy for the linear park. We now have safety. We have higher values for our homes and health and wellness. So it's just really exciting. The ribbon cutting was great. Thank you, Scott, for taping that, and also the Taste of Pepper Pike. That was wonderful. It was a wonderful event, even though it's hot, but the fans were great. And and any council member that didn't come to either one of those ribbon cutting or the Taste of Pepper Pike really missed out on connecting with your constituents.
Thank you. Anyone else? Not seeing or hearing anything? We stand adjourned.
That's like